Up next on the MARR Army Rock Show, we are always excited to bring you the best new music wherever we find it, even if it's in our home state of Pennsylvania, of course. And in Pittsburgh, we find Icarus, which they've got a brand new record called Goodbye Cruel World, due out October 26th. We're very excited to have Quinn Lucas, their guitarist, with us. Quinn, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, hey, as I mentioned briefly there, the new release is due out soon. So tell us a little bit more about the journey behind the making of this new record.
The making of Goodbye Cruel World is pretty long and drawn out, but really interesting as well. We were kind of taking a hiatus. Jason and I had started writing this album quite a few years ago, and he kind of needed to decompress and took some time and moved to Salem, Massachusetts for basically a better part of a little over a year to just kind of decompress, reevaluate things, and I continued to write the rest of the album here in Pittsburgh. And whenever it came time he moved back, we got together, kind of reassembled, and put together all the other pieces as far as finishing arrangements and songs, and came up with a couple. I think it was 2 other ones that previously weren't finished. And we knew it was going to be something special. We just didn't have all the parts and pieces in place. So whenever, like I said, he came back to Pittsburgh, we really worked daily on the album for a couple months. And it came time to really put the kind of nail in the coffin, so to speak, as far as wrapping everything up before we went in the studio. And we were kind of faced with, another hurdle, as we were now faced with the problem of looking for a frontman, which was never really a thing that I was going to have to worry about. So that kind of was a major bump in the road, and with that decision kind of staring us in the face, it was the elephant in the room, so to speak. Like, what do we do? Who do we get? I had been playing with Andrew in Iron Flame, and we've all known each other for years, and I kind of floated him a couple songs. I didn't really tell him what it was about. Floated him a couple songs to send back to me, and finally, he'd send me one back, it'd be great, with a demo idea on it, and he'd send me another one, it'd be great. So I kept feeding him songs, and pretty soon he's like, "Hey man, is this Icarus Switch material?" I was like, "Yep, got me."
Now, you mentioned Andrew there, kind of matter of fact. Now, the vocally, the 2 songs I've heard so far off the record are amazing. So do you want to tout him a little bit and give us a little bit of his background?
Yeah. Andrew is an amazing human being. Just to start off with, the guy has so much talent, and he's such a hard worker. His work ethic is bar none. I mean, he puts out more projects himself than most bands do in a career. He does on a yearly basis. But yeah, him and I have always romanticized about doing a Maiden tribute band together. And for years we talked about it, and it never came to fruition. And whenever he started Iron Flame, he had called me and said, "Hey man, I'm going to do this melodic metal project. I want to see if you want to be involved in it." And without even hearing a song, I was like, yes, and yes. And he's like, "Well, let me send you the stuff first." I was like, no man, sign me up, we're good. And he really did. He knocked it out of the park with the first one. The second one just got released, and we've been busy doing that. And it became a no-brainer for me to see if I could get Andrew to do this. And he was once I came clean and said, "Yeah, man, this is some of the new Icarus Switch material that we've been working on." And I said I would be just thrilled and completely humbled if you'd be a part of this. And he's like, "Dude," he's like, "those are big shoes to fill," but he was down for it 100%, and completely gracious about it. And now it's something that all of us are very, very proud of, and proud to look a I just came home from rehearsal tonight, and we're very proud to look across the room and see each other's face.
So the little bit I've heard, in some sort of ways, this album's almost kind of like a return to sort of the roots of the band a little bit, isn't it? Stylistically, maybe?
Definitely. I mean, it's, as musicians, I think we all kind of grow, and especially as writers, we all, you try to spread your wings a little bit, try new things, but at the same time, I think as you grow, you also learn to not forget who you are and what you really love about music. And I think this is kind of shows in this album. But it's some of the riffs have been around since before Rise was released, since the Draw Down the Moon sessions. So they were reworked. Some riffs got a new kind of lease on life, so to speak. They needed some love and attention before they weren't, real song ideas. And, you kind of reevaluate it. You look at it differently, maybe retool a part or something like that. And all of a sudden you're like, oh man, that's where it's at right there.
So there's a music video out there to Goodbye Cruel World, which is, of course, coming out on October 26th. I almost said August. And was that the video of that? Was it the actual recording sessions, or was that something you guys kind of just did on the side?
No, this was after the session was tracked. It was shot at a very close friend of mine. He has a studio here in Pittsburgh that I do quite a bit of work out of. And it just seemed like it was an awesome spot. We'd actually, come full term whenever Jason and I had announced the initial release of this album, which is only a year behind schedule. That was actually the room where we did the interview where we announced the actual release of this album, which has been postponed to this October. So it's kind of come full tilt. Shot the video in the room where we first kind of released the news that, hey, we're coming back, kind of deal. Because before that, no one really even knew that Jason had moved back into the Pittsburgh area, and we're constantly bombarded with, when you guys, when's the new album coming out? I don't know. So one of those things.
So I remember the first time I saw your band. I don't remember the venue. I just remember seeing you guys. And as a lifelong Iron Maiden fan, it really is hard to not, draw some comparisons. And fans of Maiden are going to love you guys naturally. So what are like the parallels and the ties to like the Iron Maiden thing with you guys?
My God, I think we probably all grew up with, just Maiden ingrained in our souls. It all hit me really early on, as far as becoming a Maiden fan. I had an older brother, and he, listened to nothing but old school classics, and me being 11 years younger than him just looked at him like he was the coolest thing in the world. And especially once I seen the Live After Death album cover, I was 5 years old, and I'm like, yep, that's it. That's got to sound cool. But we're all huge Maiden fans, and a couple years ago we got the chance to be Paul Di'Anno's backing band. It was close to probably 3 years that we toured and played with Paul, and that was like a huge bucket list thing for me. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting to play the songs off the first two Maiden albums with Paul. Like, this is huge. And to me, I was just like, man, I was on cloud nine the whole time.
You guys didn't start off planning that, right? I mean, that kind of happened because of your style, right? That kind of landed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of came out of the blue. It was, we knew that he really wanted to get into the States again. We were sharing a label at that point, and the opportunity kind of rose, and they said, well, like, out of the bands that he's looking at, like, he's really wants to kind of talk to you guys, because it was really a no-brainer. Two guitars at that time, fully drenched in harmonies, and we had done a Maiden cover that we released for Killers. So it was just like, it was a no-brainer at that point. It's like, if you would have asked me, hey man, you think you'll ever get a chance to play with any of the Maiden guys? I'd be like, you're crazy.
Yeah, man, to this day, I mean, I can still remember my first Maiden show ever, seeing the big Eddie come out and all that cool stuff. What an amazing band to follow, and to get to play with them had to be awesome. So, hey, to this day, man, I still just got to crank up your guys' tune, The End, and I have never gotten enough of that tune. Tell me a little bit about the history of that tune. From vocals to guitars, it's like an epic tune from you guys.
Oh, thanks, man. That's a burner. It is. It's a great song. It's a great song live too. It's a lot of fun to play. That was the last song that was written for the Rise sessions, and it was one of those crazy happenstance things that just Jason and Tom were just messing around at rehearsal before we all got, the rest of us got there, and Jason was playing this bass line, and Tom just started jamming, a drum pattern to it, and, lo and behold, like, Dave and I walked in, and I was like, whoa, that's cool, like, what's that? And Dave plugged in his guitar, started jamming, and I started jamming, and all of a sudden, by the time Chris got to rehearsal, we had, like, half a song written. and he's like, what the hell is that? It's a new song. We're going into the studio in, like, 2 weeks. Yeah, it's a new song. And even the vocals, like, nothing was really set in stone. Even whenever we walked into the studio, it was like, okay, let's mess around with that one. And Chris was doing vocal tracks, and it just came so effortless, like, just to put the whole thing together. It was like the song almost wrote itself.
Man, it's amazing. Some of like the best songs I hear from bands that I interview, like that's the way it came together. Just like it just gelled. It's so amazing that I just love that tune and how that came together. It sounds, it's easy for me to say easy, but it sounded easy for you guys, but I could never do it.
It was one of those things where it was easy for us to kind of, it just felt right. We didn't overthink the arrangement. We didn't have to, kind of thing. We weren't worrying about like how many times should we do this part, how many times should we do that, or when does the chorus drop back in. It just all kind of fell into place on that one, which is you got to take them while you can get them like that.
So hey, just one or two more things before I let you go here. The for people that don't know, and I found it's out there on iTunes, you guys like wrote a theme song for an NHL team. What's that all about?
That song, we're, again, Pittsburgh, born and raised. You're a hockey fan coming out of the womb. And it was just a chance for us the Penguins were going into the Stanley Cup playoffs that year, and they had always had this theme song that they always played before the game, stuff like that, and we thought, man, it'd be really cool if we took a metal approach to that. So we did it on a whim, said, you know what, we'll go ahead and do this and release it and see what comes out of it. And the response was like overwhelming, because again, chances are, if you're, especially in Pittsburgh, and it's that way in most cities, if you're into metal, you're usually into hockey as well. And it was very well received. I actually just got asked about that the other night. Like, man, that is so awesome you guys did that. I was like, it was just out of pure fanship, But yeah, it was very, very neat to do something like that.
So last thing I think a lot of folks are going to want to know, we're looking forward to the album again, which releases on October 26th. It's called Goodbye Cruel World. But what about a tour, man? Are we going to be doing some touring for this thing, or is that a little too soon to know?
No, we're definitely going to be running some dates together. Too soon to announce anything yet, with everything that everyone else has going on right now. I know Iron Flame has some shows that we're going to be finishing up through the fall, but I'm hoping to be able to release some news about confirmed dates soon. But yeah, we're definitely going to try to string some dates together. I would love to start off, do a East Coast run, and branch branch out and kind of see where we go from there. We haven't been there's markets that are very strong for us that we haven't hit in a long time, especially in the South, that I would absolutely love to come down and play for everybody in Texas and New Mexico and places where really early on kind of really showed us the love, you know. And it's been a while since we've been out on the road, so it's high time. I think we're on the mindset that this is what we love to do. We really want to promote this album. So you're definitely going to see us on the road. I just can't tell you exactly when.
Well, we're going to look forward to it, man. We've had Quinn Lucas with us from Icarus Witch out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The album Goodbye Cruel World is due out October 26th. You can pre-order that thing right now on iTunes or wherever you get your digital music. So, Quinn, man, thanks so much for being here. I really had a great time talking to you.
Absolutely, man. Same.